this is just a tool and that will provide us with different opportunities and also allows us to scale. And of course, it's not that it's just starting because AI has been here for years and it's going to keep evolving, especially with machine learning. This is going to keep growing and learning. So it's something that's going to keep changing year over year. But as designers, we need to think about our users. And this is something that it's going to unblock different layers.
Welcome to How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation, a podcast by eClerks. We explore how AI and machine learning are being used to scale businesses from end to end. But that's not all. In each episode, our industry experts dive deep into topics like AI-enabled sales optimization, predictive analytics, AI-powered marketing, and machine learning for product personalization. I promise to give you the goods, the insights, and the strategies that you need to grow your business. I am your host, Nicholas Cole. Thank you for joining us for another episode of How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing the user experience and intelligent automation. Today, I have joining me one of the best people that we can speak with about this subject. Today, I have joining me Anna Grigoli. She serves as the head of user experience for Amazon Web Services FinTech. And so before we get into our subject matter on today, Anna, why don't you let us know just a little bit more about yourself and your role at Amazon Web Services?
Great. Thank you so much, Nicholas. Thank you for inviting me to this space and providing me this opportunity also to share my opinions. So, yeah, thank you. So, I'm Ana Di Grigoli, as you said. I'm originally from Argentina. Right now, I'm residing in the United States. I'm working for AWS, and I'm one of the design leaders for the AWS FinTech space. We have a couple of teams, so I'm leading one of those teams there. And our current work is automating manual processes and like working for improving different solutions and internal tools for our finance users at AWS.
So you talk about improving some processes and automating processes. And so there's been an explosion of AI. And so a lot of interest is going there. And so could you give us an idea of some of the problems that you're solving and how AI is enhancing the experience?
Yeah, so exactly. I cannot provide like specific details, of course, on some of the things that we are currently building in our space. But in general, AWS has been delivering a lot of tools related to AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, NLP, natural language processing, and all that. And not only for our space, so for like customer experience, user experience in general, we have like many different options to improve. Like, for example, when you have like customer service or customer support and you have thousands and thousands of users with different chatbots, how do you process that? If you do that manually, you go to maybe, I don't know, a dozen of reviewing different chats, and you can kind of like get an idea of what users are saying, what they are feeling, what are their problems, things like that. But with data mining and then different processors and getting insights, we have faster speed and we can process large amount of data. And also with the NLP, natural language processing, we can also get an idea of the sentiment of the people. How are they reacting? How are they feeling? So that allows us as designers to get like better insights into processing all these user needs and problems. So with that said, that's a great example that I always like to provide on how these type of tools are helping us process large data sets from our users and providing with better insights and reaching out to way more broader audiences as well.
So would you say that how does generative AI enhance all of this? So that's a big thing that's going on right now, generative AI in the field of AI, broader field of AI. So what role does that play in the user experience?
Yeah, so generative AI actually it's about like as the word it says, it's generating content. So it could be, as we know, the famous ChatGPT that it creates like text, or it could be like visual, like creating images, and there is like large amount of different possibilities and capabilities that we can have with generative AI. As said, like it could be text processing, generating different contents, or like creating different images, visuals, and things like that. But at the same time, as the creativity is also part of the process, that designers still need to take a huge role and a huge input there, especially because we are looking to solving user problems and user needs. So there is a huge factor there that it's important.
So when you talk about solving problems, so what are some of the obstacles that you've been confronted with and how has AI assisted in solving those problems?
Yeah, so this is kind of like in every revolution and evolution in technology. This is just a tool and will provide us with different opportunities and also allows us to scale. And of course, it's not that it's just starting because AI has been here for years and it's going to keep evolving, especially with machine learning. This is going to keep growing and learning. So it's something that's going to keep changing year over year. But as designers, we need to think about our users. And this is something that it's going to unblock different layers. It's kind of like in video games when you unlock a new level, it's like new different challenges, new different opportunities. So this is kind of like also we've seen that in history. For example, if you think about covers of albums and how graphic design and design in general was done by different manual methods, lithography, different printing press, or like artistic methods like photomontage or things like that. And then we started with the digital, having different printing, manufacturing processes, and from Corel to different tools. So this is also something that will enable us as designers to keep growing and being able to provide better and different options at scale.
So you've mentioned the change that has occurred over the years. And so when it comes to the user experience, what type of change have you had to adjust to as far as what users expect, as far as simplicity of using platforms and things of that nature?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think in terms of visual, I think it's a great tool that we need to think about interpretation, for example. Now, because generative AI, it's also learning from different universes, like different groups of set of people. So, for example, if you are designing for a product that is global, but the tool that you are using is just based on learning from a very specific set of user groups, maybe the solution that you will get is going to be limited to that specific user group. But when you are designing globally, then you need to contemplate different cultures, different languages, different interpretations, all that. So I think that's something that the designer still needs to play a huge role there. I'm not saying that in the future, maybe in a couple of years, the machine learning is going to be able, to keep growing those large amount of neuronal connections and connecting different concepts between different cultures and all that. I'm sure that's going to happen actually. But this is kind of like at the same time as designers, we need to keep growing and evolving with this technology that keeps evolving.
So when it comes to generative AI, machine learning, as you mentioned, learning. And so it sounds like there's a lot going on. You're dealing with interfaces and dealing with creating the right user experience. And so how do you keep a balance between utilizing cutting edge technology while at the same time creating a simple but effective experience for users?
That's a tough question. I think that, yeah, it's hard to keep a balance, but I think it's important. This is just like a medium. So it's like a tool that we can use to enable us to reach different options, like to scale, to process that in different ways, in larger amounts. And we have like, there are many different options that all AI it's providing us. So there is a quote that I really like from Argentinian designer. And it's like the designer is not the source of the message, but it's the interpreter. So that's when I think it's coming the role of the designer as in order to keep that balance. It's like how is the outcome of whatever was created by the generative AI? how is that fulfilling where user needs? And that's where it comes the processing also of the designer as understanding specifically those users, because we always talk about user satisfaction and user acceptance and all that, but at the same time the user validation is also like subjective, that it needs also that component that it's still related to a lot of human emotions. And that's also a large uncertainty and ambiguity, because the mental human mind, it's still like a big space that we still need to keep learning from.
Yeah. So in that same vein, just say I'm an organization and we want to start leveraging AI. And so what advice would you give to an organization that's aiming to leverage AI to improve the user experience?
Yeah, so there is a lot like outside. This is not something new. I know that now it's like becoming trending and it's everywhere. And at the same time, there is a lot of ambiguity. Like it's everyone is talking about AI. What is AI? What is generative AI? What is like machine? Like all these things that sound like crazy things. But these things have been evolving. It's like computing, machine processing, like learning, all of that has been there for years and it's kept evolving. Like if you see like different videos on generation of images, how it evolved, the quality of the images from the generative AI, and nowadays the quality of those images is impressive. So there is a lot, and with all this access that we have on internet, there is a lot of like free tools that are super easy accessible to anyone, and everyone also talks about like ChatGPT, oh, that it was provided by OpenAI and things like that. So my advice would be that it's like consume and start getting involved, because this is already here and it's gonna stay. And not only that, it's gonna keep evolving and getting immersed in our lives. So if you are not already there, it's you are kind of late, because this is gonna keep evolving and even getting into more and more of our everyday lives.
So you mentioned how things are evolving. So can you give us a little insight in the fintech space? How have things evolved when it comes to user experience and also with the integration of new technology?
Yeah, so in the fintech space, there are a lot of factors. And first, the manual processes, like that's one of the main challenges that has been there for years. It's like so many manual processes, like people doing the same repetitive tasks and going through large data sets, which is like really time consuming, and also it's a burden for users. So that's when like computing, processing, and all that, it's kind of like taking over, which I know that's also some kind of like a delicate topic for people. It's like, okay, like AI is going to take over roles and jobs and things like that. But at the same time, it's actually like also facilitating us, like take over those repetitive tasks, manual processes, being able to, for example, if you have hundreds of financial reports that you need to go through, but you have someone to go through them, which is like this computing technology that is processing all these large data sets and then automating different outcomes. This is a huge improvement in terms of speed and efficiency in these daily tasks for our users.
So what you're saying, it actually frees you up more. So it gives you more time to focus on more fulfilling work. And so in that same vein, since, it's helping you have more time to do things, more meaningful things, what technology excites you the most as it relates to being able to assist with the user experience?
That's a great question. I'm really excited actually of what's gonna come soon, because we already seen also with virtual reality. So in that sense, for example, exactly as you were saying, like it also applies for designers, automating our processes, like providing easier tools for creating, like generating this content for designers. That will also release designers amount of space to focus on different things, like focus more on strategic aspects rather than tactical aspects. And at the same time, it unlocks, like as I was saying earlier, unlocking a new level of, or a new layer of experiences. For example, it was like some years ago, some of designers started like also becoming more involved into BUI, which is like voice UI, working with voice, chatbots, assistants, virtual assistants, like conversational design and all that. So now also with the integration of virtual reality, I'm thinking like all the things that are going to come for designers to learn and to apply, solve different challenges and problems for users that will involve human emotions with virtual reality. And I think that's unlimited.
To even think about that kind of blows my mind. It's just fun, virtual reality, putting all of that together. And so when you think about all the things to come, are there some drawbacks that you may have in your mind, or some drawbacks that you, or some things that you've experienced, or some difficulties that you've gone through just adjusting to all of this change that's happening?
I think with all evolution, it takes some time for people to adapt, reinvent, to accept. Humans, there is like this reluctancy to change, to adapt to change. So will require still this effort to learn different things with every new technology. Like when we have these new phones, tactile phones, like smartphones, like we need to constantly learn new things. Like I think also for some of different users, that will be also kind of like the challenge on how to help different type of users that maybe are not so involved with technology, how they can learn these new technologies, how they can get more involved. So I think that all that part of the adaptation process is going to be like the challenge. But I think it's positive in the end because it's going to allow and enable unlimited options and resources.
So you talk about unlimited options and resources. Why is the user experience important anyway? So just to give some organizations some idea, why is that so important anyway? Can you give us some insight on that?
That's a great question because the designers, we are problem solvers. And one of the main differences from artists is that's also the quote from Jorge Frascara, Argentinian designer. We are not the source of the message, but we are interpreters. So, with that, there is this importance of focusing on what is really valuable for the users, because then we can talk about like economy, market, user needs, like anything. But at the same time, it's like we are fulfilling these needs. So we will have different people focusing on like business outcomes, fulfilling business requirements, fulfilling functionality, making sure things work. But we are the advocates for the users. So how do we make sure we are fulfilling those needs and we are solving those problems for them?
So when you talk about those problems that you're solving, and I can imagine that there are many problems that you are encountering and you are solving. And so in what ways would you say AI or generative AI and intelligent automation is assisting with all of that that you have going on?
That's a great question. And I think it's very vast question and it's taking care of many different aspects of solving those challenges. Because for example, we have actually the ability to get better insights, more accurate. So the design process also start with the problem. So having those insights, that data, is allowing us to also have a better and more accurate definition of the problem so that then we are able to come to a solution that is also more precise. So that is helping in the end our end users because we are going to be able to offer better solutions, more personalized experience with all this processing of data, with all this learning, with all these capabilities, and also with all these options of generating text, images, content, everything. The amount of tools and options are huge. So that is actually like it's opening, like a Pandora box, like a plethora box.
And so you talk about the Pandora box. Could you give us a brief success story where the integration of AI has significantly enhanced the overall user experience?
Let me think, because without trying to give like specific details, there is this importance. which we are having more visibility also nowadays, and artificial intelligence is contributing to this a lot, is to bring in this visibility to accessibility. So when we design for accessibility, we are designing for everyone. And there are many examples that now, with all these tools, we are able to reach to more people with disabilities. Like it's also easier to help them access all this different content, like for screen readers, automatic generation of text with closed captions in videos. When you have text that is automatically translated into voice, because we have these synthetic voices that are also artificial, but then that also allows people to hear content that was originally on a text. Many of these things, which I think are positive in the end, like for our users. So that's some of the good examples that I think are positive.
There's awesome. I definitely appreciate it. So Anna, this has been a very insightful, and I've just been sitting here just wondering if you could take someone to lunch and you could send an invitation to anyone with all these changes going on, who would that one person be and why?
That's a great question. And I always think of the same person, which I know it's not possible. But I think of Jules Verne because his books are amazing. I read a lot of his books. And with all this era of generative AI, artificial intelligence, and everything, I think the creative process it's becoming way more important. And for me, Jules Verne is one of the most creative people in the world. Like he talks about like submarines or different machines that were not existing at the time that he was writing those books. So trying to understand his creative processes, like how he was able to come to those ideas. So that's why I think learning all that, I think, will be nice to absorb.
So I definitely pray. So if you happen to get that lunch, just let me know about it. If I can get an invite to the lunch as well, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. It sounds amazing. And so Anna, it has been a true pleasure and honor to have you on with us today. You provided some amazing insights. Listeners have a lot that they can chew on, a lot of information they can chew on. And so we thank you for that. And so to our listeners, stay tuned to our next episode.
Thank you so much, Nicolas. This was a great talk and excited to hear more about everything that is coming and excited to also keep checking your podcast. Thank you so much for your space. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation is brought to you by eClerx. For more information about services and how we can help your business leverage the power of AI and machine learning, visit our website at www.eclerx.com. That's www.eclerx.com. Don't forget to search for How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes. On behalf of everyone here at eClerx, thanks for listening.